The bullet punched through the cabin window 3 inches from Jiho's head. He dropped flat, pulling Alexis down with him as glass exploded inward. Outside, the mountain darkness erupted with muzzle flashes. 20, maybe 30 weapons lighting up the tree line. Wheeler was already moving, grabbing the go bag, shoving the encrypted laptop with Alexis's father's files into it. "They found us," Wheeler said, unnecessarily. He was at the window, returning fire with controlled 3-round bursts. Counting at least 20 hostiles, military contractors, full tactical gear. Jiho crawled to the weapons cache they'd prepared. 2 days hiding in this cabin, planning how to retrieve the files and expose the conspiracy. 2 days of peace with baby Hyejin sleeping in the other room. And now this. Alexis was already checking her rifle, movements efficient and deadly. How long until they breach? 3 minutes if they're cautious. 1 if they're not. Wheeler ejected an empty magazine, loaded a fresh one without looking. "We can't hold them, not with this many." "We don't have to hold them." Jiho's mind was racing, tactical training kicking in. "We have to survive them long enough to get the files to safety." "Where's the baby?" "Nursery, still asleep somehow." Alexis's voice was tight. She was terrified. He could see it in the way her hands moved just slightly too fast, the way her breathing was controlled but shallow. But she was functioning. That's what mattered. Another volley of gunfire shredded the front wall. Wood splinters and insulation filled the air. They had maybe seconds before the assault came. Jiho grabbed his phone, dialed Minjai. His father answered on the first ring. "They're here. 20+ military contractors. We need extraction for the baby." Minjai's voice was immediately all business. "Wheeler can drive?" "Yeah. Then he takes Hyejin now, back roads to Seoul. I'll have people meet him halfway. You and Alexis?" "We hold them. Here. Buy Wheeler time to get clear." Jiho looked at Alexis. She was nodding, already understanding the plan. "Dad, when Wheeler gets there, Amara needs to take the baby somewhere safe, not the penthouse, somewhere they won't find." "Amara already sent Arya to Nigeria. Her cousin's family, the baby can—" "No. Too far, too slow, just somewhere secure. We're coming to Seoul as soon as we can. We need to release these files publicly. It's the only way this ends." "Then end it." Minjai's voice was hard. "I'll mobilize everyone. When you get here, we'll make sure you can broadcast. But Jiho—" "I know." He did. This might be the last time they talked. "Tell Amara I love her. Tell Arya." His throat closed. His 4-year-old sister was safe in Nigeria, far from this nightmare. At least that was something. "Tell them yourself. You're coming back." The line went dead. Jiho looked at Wheeler. "You need to leave now, through the back. Take the jeep. Don't stop until you reach Seoul." Wheeler was already moving to the nursery. They could hear Hyejin starting to cry. The gunfire had finally woken her. Alexis followed Wheeler, and Jiho heard her talking softly to the baby, that tone mothers use, reassuring and gentle even when everything is falling apart. She came back 30 seconds later, carrying Hyejin bundled in blankets, the baby's face scrunched and red from crying. Alexis kissed her daughter's forehead, whispered something Jiho couldn't hear, then handed her to Wheeler. "You keep her safe," Alexis said. It wasn't a request. "With my life." Wheeler adjusted his grip, holding the baby securely against his chest with one arm, weapon in the other hand. 2 hours to Seoul. Maybe less if I push it. "Then push it." Jiho moved to the back door, checked the approach. "Clear for now." The contractors were focused on the front. "Go. Now." Wheeler went. The back door closed behind him, and Jiho heard the jeep's engine start, tires crunching on gravel, as it pulled away into the darkness. "They'll hear that," Alexis said. "Yeah." Jiho returned to the front window. Sure enough, some of the muzzle flashes were redirecting, trying to cut off Wheeler's escape. But he was already too far, and the contractors couldn't pursue without abandoning their assault on the cabin. They'd have to choose: chase the car or finish the people inside. They chose inside. "Breaching!" someone shouted, and suddenly the front door exploded inward. Flashbang grenades followed. Jiho and Alexis had just enough time to close their eyes and turn away before the world went white and the pressure wave hit like a fist. Then they were inside. Jiho fired blind, spraying the doorway, heard someone scream and fall. His vision was returning in spots and blurs. Alexis was beside him, also firing, both of them pouring rounds into the breach point. 2 contractors down in the doorway, 3 more trying to push through. Jiho shot the first one twice in the chest, the second in the head. The third made it inside, diving behind the kitchen counter. The cabin was small, 2 rooms plus nursery and bathroom. Every inch was now a battleground. The contractor behind the counter blind fired over the top. Bullets chewed through the wall behind Jiho and Alexis. "Grenade!" Alexis shouted. They ran for the bedroom as the grenade bounced across the floor. Jiho slammed the door just as the explosion blew out the kitchen. The shockwave knocked them both down. His ears were ringing, smoke and dust everywhere, but they were alive. "Window!" Jiho gasped. They couldn't stay here. The cabin was compromised, filling with smoke. He kicked out the bedroom window, looked down, 10-foot drop to the ground. Manageable. "Go." He covered Alexis as she went through, dropped and rolled. He followed, landing hard, ankle screaming but functional. They were outside now, behind the cabin. The forest was maybe 20 yards away. If they could reach it? There! Flashlights pinned them. More contractors, circling around. They'd anticipated the escape. Jiho and Alexis ran. Bullets snapped past them, hitting trees, kicking up dirt. Jiho fired back over his shoulder, didn't aim, just suppressing fire to make them duck. Alexis was faster, reaching the tree line first, turning to cover him as he sprinted the final yards. They crashed into the forest and kept running, branches whipping their faces, lungs burning. Behind them, the contractors were coming, flashlights bobbing, radio chatter, professional, coordinated. These weren't thugs, they were trained killers. "How many rounds you got?" Jiho asked between breaths. "2 magazines." "You?" "3. Not enough, not nearly enough. We need to split them up, make them hunt us individually. And then? Then we kill them one by one." Alexis looked at him, really looked at him. Her face was scratched from branches, streaked with dirt and smoke residue, but her eyes were clear, determined. Together? Always. They split up. Welcome back, Fierce Hearts and Midnight Dreamers. If you're new, hit that subscribe button right now because this finale is relentless. Drop a heart in the comments if your heart is already racing, and tell me where you're watching from. Every like, every comment, every bit of love keeps these dangerous stories coming. Now let's watch Jiho and Alexis fight for their lives. Jiho went left, making noise, breaking branches, drawing attention. He counted 8 flashlights following him. Good. That meant Alexis only had to deal with the rest. He ran another 50 yards, then stopped, went silent. Let them come to him. The flashlights spread out, trying to surround his last known position. Sloppy. They were used to hunting civilians, not someone who'd been training for this his entire life. The first contractor walked past Jiho's hiding spot, weapon up, scanning. Jiho waited until he was 3 feet away, then moved. He grabbed the man from behind, one hand over mouth, the other driving his knife into the base of the skull. "Quick! Quiet!" The contractor went limp. Jiho took his rifle, his ammunition, his radio earpiece. Now he could hear their communications. "Alpha 1 is down. Anyone have visual?" "Negative. He's hunting us now." Good. They were scared. Scared people made mistakes. Jiho moved like a ghost, circling around, getting behind them. 2 contractors were moving together. Smarter. He couldn't take them both silently. So he didn't try. He shot the first one in the back of the head, pivoted, shot the second before he could turn. Both dropped. Jiho took their ammunition and kept moving. 3 down. Repeat, 3 down. Where is he? Thermal's not picking him up. He knows we have thermals. He's staying behind cover, masking his signature. They were adapting. Jiho needed to adapt faster. He climbed, found a thick tree, got 20 feet up, and waited. Watched them with a borrowed night vision goggles, tracking their movements. 2 more contractors passed beneath him. He dropped on the first one, knife in both hands, driving it down through the gap between helmet and body armor. The man didn't even scream. The second contractor spun, weapon rising. Jiho threw the knife. It wasn't a throwing knife, but at 5 feet it didn't matter. It hit the man in the throat. He fell gurgling, 5 down, maybe 3 more hunting him. Alexis had the rest. Gunfire erupted from her direction, sharp, controlled bursts followed by screams. She was holding her own. Jiho heard movement behind him, dropped flat just as bullets chewed through the space where his head had been. He rolled, came up firing, hit the shooter twice in the chest. The man's armor stopped the rounds, but the impact knocked him down. Jiho closed the distance, put a round through the visor slit. 6 down, his radio crackled. All units, regroup at rally point. We're getting picked apart. Regroup and consolidate. They were retreating. Jiho waited, watching through night vision as the remaining contractors pulled back, maybe 6 or 7 still standing. They'd taken heavy losses. He circled around to find Alexis. She was crouched behind a fallen log, reloading, blood on her face from a graze across her cheek. You good? Jiho asked. 4 down on my side. You? 6. They're regrouping. He checked his ammunition. 2 magazines left. We can't chase them. Too exposed. But we can't go back to the cabin either. It's compromised. So we go to Seoul. On foot if we have to. 30 miles through mountains? You have a better idea? He didn't. They started moving, following the ridgeline south toward Seoul. Behind them, the contractors were probably calling for reinforcements, reorganizing, preparing to hunt them properly. But Wheeler had a 2-hour head start with the baby, and every minute Jiho and Alexis stayed alive was another minute Hyejin got farther away. They walked for 3 hours, barely talking, conserving energy. The adrenaline crash hit hard around hour 2, but they pushed through it. Training, discipline, the knowledge that stopping meant dying. Dawn was breaking when they heard the helicopter. Military. Circling. Searching. Thermal cameras that would pick them up the moment they left tree cover. We need a vehicle, Alexis said. There. Jiho pointed. Below the ridge, maybe half a mile away, was a rural road. A truck was parked on the shoulder. Some farmer probably checking his fields. That's exposed. Everything's exposed now. Jiho started down the ridge. We take the truck. We can be in Seoul in 90 minutes. Stay here and we're dead by noon. They reached the road. The truck was old, diesel, keys in the ignition because this was rural Korea and people still trusted each other. Jiho almost felt bad stealing it. Almost. They were 5 miles down the road when the helicopter found them. It came in low and fast, Dr. Gunner opening up with a mounted machine gun. Rounds punched through the truck's roof and hood. Jiho swerved hard, nearly rolling them, trying to get back under tree cover. The helicopter followed, relentless. The door gunner was good, controlled bursts, leading their movement, anticipating Jiho's maneuvers. Shoot back, Jiho shouted. Alexis was already out the window, rifle braced, firing at the helicopter. Her round sparked off the fuselage but didn't penetrate. The helicopter banked away, giving them a few seconds. There! Alexis pointed at an overpass ahead. Get under it! Jiho floored it. The truck's engine screamed. They hit 80 miles an hour on the rural road, barely in control. The helicopter was coming back around. They made it under the overpass just as the door gunner opened fire again. Concrete rained down. Jiho kept going, emerged on the other side, and saw something beautiful. Traffic. They were approaching Seoul's outer suburbs. Cars, buses, civilians. The helicopter couldn't fire indiscriminately here. It pulled off, circling at a distance, just watching now. They know where we're going, Alexis said. Yeah. Jiho's hands were locked on the wheel, knuckles white. They'll be waiting. His phone rang. Minjai. Wheeler made it. The baby's safe. Amara has her at a secure location. Jiho nearly sobbed with relief. Thank God, we're 30 minutes out. Do you have a place we can broadcast from? The penthouse. I've got equipment set up. Media contacts ready. But Jiho, his father's voice changed, became heavier. They know you're coming here. I've got 50 men fortifying the building. But if they come in force, they will. This is it, Dad. We expose them today or we don't survive the week. Are you ready for that? For you? Always. The line stayed open but quiet for a moment. Then Minjai said, Your mother wants to talk to you. Amara's voice came on. She sounded tired. Jiho, you come home. You come home to this baby. You understand me. She needs her father. I will. I promise. Where's Arya? Safe. Nigeria. Her cousins are taking good care of her. She asks about you every day. Jiho's throat tightened. His 4-year-old sister, thousands of miles away, probably confused and scared. Tell her I love her. Tell her Appa will see her soon. You tell her yourself. When this is over. Amara's voice was firm. Steel underneath. And Jiho, if anyone tries to hurt that baby, they go through me first. Your daughter is safe. You focus on staying alive. I love you, Mom. It was the first time he'd called her that. Mom, not Amara, not stepmother. Mom. She was quiet for a second, then soft. I love you too, son. Come home. The call ended. Jiho glanced at Alexis. She was crying silently, tears running down her dirt-streaked face. She'd heard everything. We're going to make it, Jiho said. I know. We have to. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, smearing more dirt. For her. For Arya. For all of them. They drove into Seoul's morning traffic. The city was waking up. People going to work. Students heading to school. Everyone living normal lives. None of them knew that 2 blood-covered fighters were driving past them, or that a war was about to erupt in the heart of the city. Minjai's building was in Gangnam, 40 stories of luxury apartments and offices. The Kong family controlled the top 5 floors. It was as much fortress as home. Jiho parked the stolen truck in the underground garage. They took the private elevator to the penthouse, both of them checking their weapons, preparing mentally for what came next. The elevator doors opened to organized chaos. Minjai's organization members were everywhere, setting up defensive positions, checking equipment, preparing for siege. The penthouse had been transformed into a command center. Minjai stood by the windows, looking out at Seoul. He turned when they entered. You look like hell, he said. Feel worse. Jiho embraced his father. The older man felt frailer than he remembered. When had that happened? Where's Amara and the baby? Secure location. Amara insisted I don't tell you where. Said if you don't know, you can't be forced to tell. Minjai led them to the equipment setup. Cameras, lights, computer for uploading files. Everything's ready. The files? Alexis pulled the encrypted drive from her jacket. Everything. 20 years of evidence. Treason, bribery, murder, weapons deals. My father documented it all. And the general who killed him? His name is in here, along with everyone else. Alexis's voice was cold. We expose them all today. Now. Then let's begin. Minjae gestured to the camera setup. Media outlets are standing by. When you go live, it'll hit every major network. They'll be forced to cover it. Jiho looked at Alexis. You should do this. It's your father's legacy. Your story. Our story. She corrected. We do this together. They sat before the camera, Alexis holding the drive, Jiho beside her. Minjae gave them a countdown. 3, 2, 1, live. Alexis spoke first. Her voice was steady despite everything. My name is Alexis Chen. My father was Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Chen, United States Army. 2 years ago, he discovered evidence of high-ranking military officials selling weapons and intelligence to enemy nations. Before he could expose them, he was murdered. They made it look like suicide, but it wasn't. It was assassination. She held up the drive. This contains every piece of evidence my father gathered. Names, dates, bank transfers, communication records, everything. I'm uploading it now to multiple secure servers. By the time I finish speaking, it will be public, permanent, undeniable. Jiho watched the upload progress bar. 20%. 30. Outside, the first explosion hit. The building shook. Car alarms screamed. Minjae's people were returning. Fire from the lower floors. They're here, Minjae said calmly. Military contractors, maybe 40. They're breaching the lobby. Alexis kept talking. The man who ordered my father's death is General Bradley Morrison. He's here in Seoul right now. He's trying to stop this broadcast. He will fail. 50% uploaded. More explosions. Closer. They were fighting floor by floor. Coming up. Jiho could hear sustained gunfire now. Automatic weapons. Grenades. The sounds of close combat. How long? Jiho asked. 3 minutes, Alexis said. 70%. The penthouse door exploded inward. Contractors poured through, but Minjae's organization members were ready. The firefight was immediate and brutal. Jiho and Alexis stayed at the camera, letting Minjae's people handle the defense. 80%. A grenade landed 10 feet from them. Jiho threw himself over Alexis and the laptop. The explosion lifted them both, slammed them into the floor. Jiho's ears rang. Blood ran down his face from somewhere, but the laptop was intact. Upload continuing, 90%. Fall back to the panic room, Minjae shouted. His people were being overwhelmed. Too many contractors. Too much firepower. Not yet. Alexis was back at the camera, blood running from her nose. We finished this, 95%. A contractor broke through, weapon rising toward Alexis. Jiho shot him 3 times, center mass. The man fell. Another came. Jiho shot him too. And another, and another. He was dimly aware he was screaming. Rage and fear and desperation bleeding into sound. The upload hit 100%. Done, Alexis shouted. It's public. Every file, every name. The shooting stopped, not because the contractors gave up, but because someone else walked into the room. General Bradley Morrison. 60 years old, wearing a civilian suit but moving like a soldier. His eyes were cold. Too late, Alexis said. It's done. Everyone knows. I know, the general pulled a pistol. But you won't live to see the consequences. He aimed at Alexis. Jiho was faster. He fired. The general fired. Both shots were simultaneous. Jiho felt the impact in his shoulder, spun with it, went down. His vision blurred. He tried to aim again, but his arm wouldn't respond. The general was hit, chest wound, serious, but still standing. He aimed at Alexis again, and Minjae stepped between them. No, the older man said quietly. The general shot him. Once, twice, 3 times. Minjae fell. Dad! Jiho tried to move, couldn't. Everything hurt. His shoulder was on fire. The general turned toward Jiho now, but he was swaying. The chest wound was fatal. He just didn't know it yet. You killed your father for nothing, the general said. I'll be dead in minutes, but so will all of you. He raised the gun, aimed at Jiho. His hand shook. The shot came from behind him. Amara stood in the doorway to the panic room. She was holding a pistol in both hands. Professional stance. She'd shot the general in the back of the head. He dropped. Amara ran to Minjai. Jiho crawled to his father, Alexis helping him. They all converged on the fallen man. Minjai was still breathing. Shallow. Wet. Lung shots. He had minutes. "You're okay," Amara was saying, hands pressed to the wounds, trying to stop bleeding that wouldn't stop. "You're okay, baby. You're okay." Amara. Minjai's hand found hers. Blood bubbled at his lips. "Where's Hyejin?" "Safe, with your people. 3 floors down, safe." "Good." His eyes found Jiho. "You did it. Files? Public?" "Yeah, Dad, we did it. Everyone knows. It's over." "Good." Minjai smiled, blood on his teeth. "Take care of Arya. She's your sister, your responsibility now." "I will, I promise." "And Amara?" Minjai's breathing was getting shallower. "Love of my life, I'm sorry." "Don't you dare," Amara said fiercely. "Don't you dare apologize. You saved them. You saved our family. I love you. I love you so much." "Love, you..." Minjai's eyes closed. His breathing stopped. He was gone. Amara screamed. It was a sound Jiho had never heard from her. Raw, primal grief. She held Minjai's body, rocking, sobbing. Jiho looked away. His shoulder was bleeding badly. Alexis was tying a tourniquet, her hands shaking. "We need to move," she said. "We need medical. Now." "The baby first. Where is she?" 3 floors down, safe room. Your father's people are with her." Jiho forced himself to stand. The world tilted, but he held on. They needed to get to Hyejin, needed to get Amara out, needed to... The explosion came from below. The entire building shook. Fire alarm screamed. Emergency lighting kicked on. "They rigged the building," Alexis said. "They're bringing it down." "Everyone out," Jiho shouted. "Now, the building's coming down." Minjai's surviving organization members, maybe 10 of them, started evacuating. Amara refused to leave. Minjai's body. "Mom, we have to go. I'm not leaving him. He's gone. We need to save the living." Jiho pulled her physically away from the body. She fought him, screaming, but he was stronger. "Alexis, go. Get the baby. I've got Amara." They ran for the stairs. The elevators were death traps now. 37 floors down with a burning building and a wounded shoulder and a grieving mother who kept trying to go back. They made it down 3 floors when they found the safe room. Minjai's people had Hyejin. The baby was crying, terrified by the alarms. Amara took her automatically, maternal instinct overriding grief. She held the baby close, still crying but functioning. They kept descending. 20 floors, 10, 5. They burst out of the building just as another explosion ripped through the upper floors. The penthouse, Minjai's home, was an inferno. Emergency vehicles were everywhere. Media too. Cameras. The whole world was watching. Alexis found a reporter, grabbed her microphone. "General Morrison is dead," she said into the camera, blood-covered, swaying but standing. "He died trying to stop the truth. But it's too late. The files are public. Every criminal, every traitor, everyone who sold out their country for money. We won. My father's death meant something. Justice is coming." She collapsed. Jiho caught her with his good arm, held her up. "Get us an ambulance," he shouted. "We need medical." Paramedics swarmed. Jiho, Alexis, Amara, and the baby were loaded into ambulances. The building continued to burn behind them. Jiho's last conscious thought before the painkillers took him was simple. We survived. We actually survived. If you're still with us, drop a like right now. Comment, "We survived," if you made it through that siege. And subscribe because the ending, the aftermath, is going to break your heart and rebuild it. We're almost there. Stay with us. 3 days in the hospital, surgery on Jiho's shoulder. Alexis treated for concussion and smoke inhalation. Baby Hyejin checked thoroughly, miraculously unharmed. Amara barely left the baby's side. She'd shut down emotionally. Functioning, but hollow. Wheeler visited daily, helping with whatever they needed. The news was wall-to-wall coverage. The files had exposed dozens of high-ranking officials. Arrests were happening globally. Congressional hearings announced. UN investigations opened. Alexis's father was being posthumously cleared, honored. The army issued an official apology. They'd won, but it didn't feel like victory. Minjai was gone, and Amara was broken. On the fourth day, they held a small private funeral. Just family and close associates. Arya flew back from Nigeria with her aunt. The 4-year-old didn't understand why Daddy wasn't coming home. Jiho gave the eulogy. He tried to keep it together. Failed. He saved me when I was 8 years old, Jiho said, voice cracking. I was being hunted. My father, my biological father, had just been killed. The Song family was going to execute me. And Minjai Kang, who owed me nothing, who had no reason to risk everything, stepped in, took me in, raised me as his son. He had to stop, breathe, continue. He taught me strength, discipline, honor. He taught me that family isn't blood. It's choice. It's who you protect, who you die for. Jiho looked at Amara, holding baby Hyejin. Arya pressed against her side. He died protecting his family. He died making sure we could expose the truth and survive. And I will spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of that sacrifice, of the father he was, of the man he showed me how to be. He broke down completely. Alexis came to the podium, held him, finished for him. Minjai Kang was a complicated man, she said. He built an empire, made hard choices, did things most people would judge. But he loved fiercely, protected absolutely, and when it mattered most, he gave his life so others could live. That's what I'll remember. Not the crime lord, the father, the man who stood between evil and the people he loved. They buried him beside the ancestral plot in Seoul. Private ceremony, no media, just grief. Afterward, Amara stood at the grave for a long time. Jiho stood with her, holding Arya's hand. The 4-year-old was clutching a drawing she'd made for her daddy, stick figures of their family, everyone smiling. I can't do this, Amara said finally. I can't function without him. I don't know how. You'll learn, we'll help. I keep forgetting he's gone. I wake up expecting him beside me. I reach for my phone to call him. And then I remember, she looked at Jiho. How do I live with this? One day at a time, 1 hour if you have to, and you remember what he died for. Us, this family, we honor that by living, by being there for Arya, for Hyejin, by being the family he wanted us to be. Amara nodded, but her eyes were empty. They went home. Or what was left of home. The penthouse was destroyed. They moved into a smaller property Minjai owned across the city. Life continued, but wrong, muted, like the color had been drained from everything. Wheeler helped. He'd become part of the family almost by default. He played with Arya, helped with the baby, gave Jiho and Alexis space to grieve and heal. What will you do now? Wheeler asked Jiho one evening. They were on the balcony, watching the city lights. I don't know. My father's organization. Some of them want me to take over. Continue what he built. But I don't know if I can do that. What do you want? Peace. For the first time in my life, I just want peace. For my daughter to grow up without fear. For Arya to have a childhood that doesn't involve hiding from enemies. Jiho sipped his drink. My father spent his life building this empire. Maybe I need to spend mine transforming it into something different. What would that look like? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. 2 weeks after the funeral, Jiho called a meeting. Every major family in Seoul, every organization that had worked with or against Minjai. He invited them all to neutral ground. 70 people showed up. Crime lords, gang leaders, people who'd spent decades fighting for territory and power. Jiho stood before them with Alexis beside him. He was Minjai's heir. They had to at least listen. My father built this world you all live in, Jiho said. He made alliances, fought wars, created systems that kept all of you in business. But he paid the price for that world. He's dead. Amara, my mother, is destroyed by his loss. My 4-year-old sister asks every day when Daddy is coming home. And I'm standing here with a bullet scar on my shoulder and a newborn daughter I nearly got killed because of the violence we've all accepted as normal. He let that sink in. I'm tired. You're probably tired too. How many of you have lost people? Family? Friends? How many funerals? Have we all attended? How many wars have we fought? Silence. They were listening. I'm proposing a treaty, not just between families, between all of us. We stop the violence, carve out territories, respect boundaries, resolve disputes through negotiation instead of bloodshed. We keep our businesses. I'm not naive enough to think we'll all go legitimate. But we stop killing each other. We stop making our children grow up afraid. And if someone breaks the treaty, someone asked, then everyone else responds. Together, we enforce peace collectively, make it too expensive to break. Why would we agree to this? Because I'm Minjai Kang's son, because I control his resources and alliances, because I'm offering you peace, but I'm also capable of war. And because I think most of you are as tired of the violence as I am. I think you want your children to inherit something better than constant conflict. He waited. The room was silent. Then, slowly, one by one, the heads nodded. Not all of them, but enough. We'll try, someone said. For 6 months, see if it works. 6 months, Jiho agreed. And if it works, we make it permanent. They shook on it. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't guaranteed, but it was a start. Jiho went home and told Amara what he'd done. She smiled for the first time since Minjai died. He'd be proud. He always wanted peace. Just never thought it was possible. Maybe it's not, but we have to try. Yes. Amara held baby Hyejin, rocked her gently. For them. We have to try for them. But over the following weeks, something changed in Amara. She smiled less, ate less. The light in her eyes dimmed further each day. She'd wake in the middle of the night calling for Minjai, then remember he was gone. Her hands trembled. She lost weight. The doctor said she was physically healthy, but Jiho could see her fading. Her body was giving up what her heart couldn't bear. 3 months after the funeral, Amara woke up in the middle of the night. She couldn't breathe. Chest pain, crushing pressure, heart attack. By the time the ambulance arrived, she was already fading. They tried, the doctors tried, but sometimes the body just gives up when the heart is broken beyond repair. Amara died at 41 years old, 3 months after losing her husband. Her heart literally couldn't survive without him. When Jiho got the call, he didn't cry. He just sat down on the floor and stared at nothing. Alexis held him. Neither of them spoke. Arya cried. She was too young to understand fully, but old enough to know Mommy wasn't coming back. Just like Daddy hadn't come back. She clung to Jiho, sobbing, and he held his little sister and made promises he'd spend the rest of his life keeping. They held another funeral. Smaller, more intimate, devastating. She saved me, Jiho said at the service. When I was 8 years old, she took 4 bullets protecting me from men who wanted me dead. She became my mother when I had none. She raised me, loved me, and when my daughter needed protection, she stepped up again. Just like always. She died protecting this family, just like she lived. He couldn't finish. He sat down. Let someone else speak. They buried Amara beside Minjai, together in death like they'd been in life. The graves read, Minjai Kang, beloved husband, father, leader. He died, protecting those he loved. Amara Kang, beloved wife, mother, warrior. She lived and died for family. After the funeral, Jiho stood at the graves with Alexis, Wheeler, and both girls. Arya was holding his hand. Hyojin was asleep in Alexis's arms, now 8 months old. What do we tell them? Alexis asked quietly. When they're old enough to ask? The truth, that their grandparents were warriors, that they loved fiercely, that they sacrificed everything for family, and that because of them, we get to live in peace. Will it last? The treaty? I don't know, but we're going to try. We're going to build something better. For them. For Arya and Hyejin. They deserve to grow up without fear. Wheeler cleared his throat. I got word today. The last of the conspirators, the ones your father exposed, they've been sentenced. Life in prison, all of them. Your father's name is fully cleared. He's being recognized as a hero. Alexis closed her eyes. He'd be proud, not of the recognition, but that the truth came out, that justice happened. He is proud, Wheeler said. Wherever he is, I know he is. They stood in silence, 5 people bound by loss and survival. Arya tugged on Jiho's hand. Appa, when do Mommy and Daddy come home? Jiho knelt down, eye level with his little sister. His orphaned sister, who was now his responsibility, his and Alexis's. They're not coming home, sweetheart, but they're together, and they're watching us, making sure we're safe. I miss them. I know. Me too. Every day. But we have each other. You have me and Alexis and baby Hyejin. We're a family. We'll take care of you. I promise. Arya hugged him. Jiho held her, this little girl who had lost everything, and made a silent vow. I will give you the childhood they wanted for you. I will keep you safe. I will be the brother, the father figure you need. I won't let their sacrifice be for nothing. 6 months after the funerals, Jiho officially took control of what remained of Minjai's organization, but he transformed it, went legitimate where possible, maintained the treaty, enforced peace ruthlessly. Some of the old guard resisted. Jiho removed them. Not violently. He gave them generous buyouts and encouraged retirement. But he made it clear the old ways were over, the treaty held. Seoul's underworld entered an unprecedented period of peace. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. Jiho and Alexis raised both girls together. Arya called Alexis auntie, but looked to her as a mother figure. Hyejin grew up knowing Arya as her sister, only learning later about the technical relationship. Wheeler stayed, became Uncle Marcus, helped with the girls, taught them to be strong and smart and careful. On the first anniversary of Minjai and Amara's deaths, they gathered at the graves. Arya was 5 now. Hyejin was walking, babbling, full of energy. I miss them, Arya said, placing flowers on both graves. But I remember them. Mommy was strong. Daddy was smart. And they loved us so much. Yes, they did, Jiho agreed. They loved you so much they gave everything to keep you safe. Are you sad, Oppa? Every day, but also grateful, because I have you, and Hyejin, and Alexis. We're a family, and we're together because they fought to keep us together. They stood in comfortable silence, a family forged from loss and trauma and fierce love. Alexis spoke softly. Your father wanted peace. He spent his life fighting but dreaming of something better. We made that dream real. The treaty is holding. The violence has dropped 70%. Children are growing up safer. That's because of you. Because you honored his memory by transforming what he built. It's what he would have wanted. It is. And Amara, Alexis's voice caught. She'd be so proud of how you've cared for Arya, how you've become exactly the father figure she needed. You've given her stability and love and a future. That's everything Amara hoped for. Jiho looked at the graves. Two people who'd given him everything, who'd saved him, raised him, loved him, and died protecting the family they built. I wish they could see this, he said. See the girls growing up. See the peace. See what their sacrifice made possible. Maybe they can, Wheeler said. I like to think they're somewhere, together, watching, proud of what you've done, of the man you've become. Jiho wanted to believe that, chose to believe it. They left the cemetery as the sun set. Two little girls holding hands, walking between the adults who loved them. A family built from ashes, surviving, healing, choosing peace over vengeance. It wasn't the ending Jiho had imagined. It was bittersweet, painful, full of loss. But they were alive. They were together. And they were building something better. Sometimes, that's the only victory that matters. Thank you for staying until the end. This was part 7, the season finale of the Afro-Korean Story Hub saga. From 8-year-old Jiho being saved to 22-year-old Jiho leading a peace movement, we've watched this family survive everything. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling us what moment destroyed you most. And subscribe, because while this season ends here, there are more dangerous love stories coming. Share this with someone who needs to understand that family isn't blood. It's who you die for and who die for you. Thank you, fierce hearts and midnight dreamers. Until the next story, stay dangerous, stay loving, stay human.